Sorry, we probably have the most recent copy of an agenda. If you got one that you picked up, hopefully it's the newest one. We've been scrambling today to change. Commissioners, do apologize. You've got a lot of things on your desk. We hope you got the newest agenda. We were changing that even as much as a couple of hours ago because we're trying to take into consideration those people who needed some business taken care of between now and July the 15th. As you know, the first day of the month, we're going to not have a meeting. We're missing that in a few minutes. We do appreciate everybody being here. Silence your phones at this time. This is our thought for the day. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. JFK. Is Dave Thomas here tonight in our fire service? We'll let him attend next time and we'll introduce him as well. Tonight our invocation is given by Pastor Ronnie Brennan. We appreciate him being so faithful from Prospect United Methodist Church. Welcome to our stage again. We always are glad to have you and see your faithfulness.
Chairman, Commissioners, it's an honor and privilege to be here. I appreciate your sacrifice, staff, and all the work that you do. It's amazing what all that gets done and has to be done. I do appreciate all your hard work, and so let's pray together. Father, we do thank you for this day and all that you've blessed us with. We thank you. We thank you for the place in which we live and how you've surrounded us with your glory and your grace. Father, I thank you for these who sacrifice so much, those that are on the roads tonight. Keep us safe and keep us in a place to live where we can relax. Father, we thank you for those who watch for us so that we don't have to. And Father, I just ask that you would bless us with your wisdom and your direction. Be with these who struggle and work so hard for this county and the budget and all the things that have to be done and taken care of. Oh Lord, we come into those things of major issues like that, but still the day-to-day tasks still have to be done. And we ask for wisdom, your direction, and may we so order our lives that we bring glory and honor to your name. Father, we do thank you for this night. We ask for your presence. In Jesus' holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Former Mayor, I still call him Mayor, Sam Ramsey is our guest speaker tonight for our pledge, and we're going to go ahead and do that first, and we've got a couple of things to discuss. If you'll all stand with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One of our mighty heroes from our community who has served both as a private citizen or business owner, the mayor of our fine town here for many years. I'd like to call him my friend tonight as well. He's a mentor for me. The pews that you're sitting on are more comfortable because about a year ago at this time, we made sort of a side deal and got those things on loan to us instead of them being at the Salem campground in a, I guess, an old cabin maybe. We've been able to enjoy their softness for about a year. It's getting close to that time, so I think you wanted to talk about that.
Well, I came tonight to invite the commissioners and the county attorney and the Jackie Smith and anyone else up here that needs to become the county administrator to eat down at the Salem Hotel on Sunday, July the 13th at 7 o'clock. And I know you all have to go back and check with your mates about whether the calendar will permit that, but I hope all of you can come. And you and your husband and wife. And it's going to be a great night. We're having the Glen Memorial United Methodist Choir that night. And the preacher that night is a Presbyterian who is from Ireland originally. He came over here and we had him in Salem about 25 years ago when he was at North Avenue Presbyterian Church in Atlanta. And since then he's gone on to have some of the biggest Presbyterian churches in the country. And he served on the committee that solved the Northern and Southern Ireland situation. So he's really a heavy hitter. And I think you'll thoroughly enjoy hearing him. And I'd like to get him to go around and solve some other problems we've got. We're looking forward to it. So if you all will call Jackie Smith in the next 2 or 3 days, I need to know how many can come. So just put it on the agenda to call and let us know who can come.
Well, Mayor, we appreciate the invitation. It seems like we had perfect attendance last year.
I hope you enjoyed it last year. I think you did. And I've invited the city council again this year, and I think most of them are going to be able to come. So it's the mayor last year, it was his anniversary, but tonight, I mean, this time he misses it by a day, so he told me he'd certainly be there. And we're looking forward to a great night together. Probably hope the congressman can be there from this area. So we've seen.
We appreciate that invitation, and we're looking forward to the preaching, but the food, and by the way, I heard you stumble a little bit. As far as I'm concerned, the evening meal is still supper.
Okay.
And we wanted to mention one other thing while you're there. He's been very instrumental, the mayor has, in our homeless shelter. And District 4 Commissioner has set aside some funds, and you have a resolution. I'm just going to mention this tonight. You have a resolution dated May 6, 2014 that addresses some upgrades to that facility. These are energy upgrades. We've had somebody do an audit. We've got somebody starting tomorrow who's going to do the work, and then we're going to put in some insulation to try to help them a little bit. Commissioner, would you like to mention a little bit about that?
Thank you, Chairman. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, the Chairman, for just stepping in and making sure that the installation of the shelter was come in under budget. And so hopefully they have a few extra funds in order to help with other needs at the shelter. And also would like to thank Mr. Ramsey, our mayor, who's been my mayor here at City Council for years and years, for just picking up the torch and carrying it for the shelter. Because I know he's been out countless days and hours raising funds just to help keep it afloat. And right now we still need funds in order to help keep going. And I'm reminded, I'm just be brief, quick, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sellers, he's still called, he said, he got this big old truck, and he said, good people do bad things. Good people sometimes be down with luck. And it seems like they have nowhere to go. And they always have an open door along their room at the shelter here in Cleveland for people who just need just who are down on their luck. And it's helping to move forward and helping our families to continue being a family. It's just helping people who need help. And I know this is the time, you know, typically around Christmas time, we all say, let's give. But if my Bible reads right, giving is not only at Christmas time, it's year round. And so if you can help somebody, I'm not saying just giving your legs, but if you can help somebody, I think that's what we should do, especially for those who are Christians.
It's been a good experience for me to be on the board out there for almost 2 years now. And I know y'all may not realize, but the state and federal people have withdrawn all that money, funding on this type of thing. They had promised me when I bought the buildings out there when I was mayor in 2008, they'd give us at least $40,000 a year, and I took them at their word. You know what happened in 2008, the economy went and frankly, this past year we got absolutely nothing from them. They've already told us that next year we're going to get absolutely nothing from them. And things come up like today, like one of the major air conditioners went out there. It's about a $5,000 project. I don't know where the money's coming from. If y'all got into church, I'm not asking the county to fork in the money because that's really not, I don't see that as your job in a sense. But if you've got any churches or people that you can, you know, write us out a check, we desperately need it right now. Utility bills have been running between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. And that's the reason this installation, I think it's going to really cut down on that, I hope, a lot. And we're trying to spend the money we do have to save money. So I think it will.
And the mayor also did take bids on that, and the winner of the installation it's an $8,000 job, and that gentleman's from Athens. There's another guy from Comer who's going to do the work, and he's doing it for $3,000 for 3 huge buildings. Probably, I don't know how many square feet those buildings are.
Well, the highest bid was $17,000, for example. So you can see what a good bid. We got it at $8,000. So,
and he'll do a good job, I'm sure. Good job.
Appreciate all y'all do.
Thanks.
I enjoyed that comment on the opening comment about the quote of the day, because I know y'all are dealing with the budget right now, and you're going to need that a lot, I'm sure.
Common dream.
I've dealt with a lot of budgets in my day.
Pillar our community, Mayor Sam Ramsey. Another pillar in our community. I'm going to take advantage of the chairman's privilege. We have Judge Ken Wynn with us tonight. We're going to let him come on up in front of us, and we're looking at some more grants. Seems like every time the judges come, they're finding money. We appreciate the work that you do, Judge. Got a chance to visit with you early in your office. I appreciate your demeanor and what you mean to our community, and I know that you're an excellent judge, and we're glad and lucky to have you. Now, you've got items, Commissioners 4, 5, and 6. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is the acceptance of an adult drug court grant in the amount of $3,800. This is a mini technology grant that the Accountability Courts Funding Committee has provided to us for both the drug court to use for technology purchases, and we'll use it for computer purchases and other technology as well. So we ask for a motion, or ask you to approve that grant.
That's pages 1 and 2 in your board book. Commissioners, I'd like a motion, please. I'm sorry, we got a commissioner question first.
No, I was just going to make a motion to
Thank you.
approve.
Thank you very much. We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? That motion carries. Thank you, Judge. Next one.
Yeah, next deals with the money from our district court, our 10th Judicial Administrative District. I think it's $1,250 for resource court and $1,250 for drug court for supplies, training, and travel. This is money that's not applied for. It's money that the state has provided to each Judicial Administrative District, and we're in the 10th JAD. And the district court administrator has provided that to us to support our accountability boards.
Commissioners, I think there is a purchase order made up in your packet that's laid on your desk that just those next 2 items. So this is item number 5, and this is the adult drug court. Motion, please. Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? And number 6.
Number 6 is the same amount of money for the resource court. Judge Osborne.
A motion? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you,
Very
Chair.
good. Have a good evening.
Mr. Chairman, handle the construction manager.
It'd be a perfect time if you could. Can you all hear in the audience? Okay, we're getting some extra help from the Mystic Grill tonight. For your dining pleasure or theirs. Let me see if I can cut us up a little bit right here. Well, I think Commissioner Sims has a lot of authority there. Item number 16 on your newest agenda. There is a couple of colored copies there showing the contractor. We have George Clackham with us tonight. Why don't you stand real quick? George is a Newton County guy, and he was part of the presentation the other day. Judge was part of that. Commissioner Maddox was here. We had, of course, the design team was with us. Mr. Craig, Mr. Middleton, Tom was there, I was there. I'm trying to remember this. Someone else. We had a good committee of people, and I'm sure that the judge had he had a real stake in this because he's going to be sitting right next to where this judicial expansion occurs. And so, George, you're going to have to be very careful to make sure that he's taken care of. So we appreciate, George, you can come up, Judge, if you want to as well. I don't think that I've ever been part of doing this, but you'll notice that there's a team there that goes along with Hogan. You'll look at those photographs. I believe that gentleman that is on the far right of that photograph is actually he's probably a very key part because he's going to be every day. But I think George is excited about being in Covington as well. I'm going to try to paint a picture of what we went through that day. It was a full-day event. We entertained 6 different general contractors, and we call this, this is CM at risk, I believe is what we refer to this as. And we entertained questions. They gave us a presentation. We all listened and asked questions. Mine were always about where you're going to use local contractors. How are you going to communicate with the employees and the judges to make sure that they were able to be a part of the team as well and know what to look for. We had a number of other things that we were very concerned about. And as the committee got to the final end, it was very easy to narrow it down to 3. It was a little tougher to narrow it to 2. But when we got it to 2, I think that Hogan, who's done our administration building, our Porter Library, maybe some other projects, but at least those 2 in our county have all been done great. But to me, the key thing was that they were willing to offer a 2-year warranty. So, to me, that describes the fact that they're proud of their work and that they believe that for 2 years they can not have any problems out of that building. So we appreciate that. And so, Commissioners, is there any reason why we wouldn't just take a vote at this point and let Hogan be our contractor, see him at risk? Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the amount of money that are funding them, or we
I
have
have.
that in our package?
I have. This is a firm number that they've agreed to, $554,255. They've also agreed, when they save us money, because we got to pay for some furniture somehow, that they've agreed to a split. If they're able to save us money on things, they get 25% of the savings, and the the county gets 75%. And I believe we're going toward not only completion of the building, but also toward trying to find some furnishings for that building. So that number's 554, 255, and we do a motion, you can entertain that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. We're still operating under the $7 billion loss cap.
How confident are we of that?
Again, I'm a stakeholder in the county. What we're doing the project. I was saying I'm a stakeholder in Newton County as well, and I'm going to make sure that project comes in on budget or under budget.
You know, we're going to try to get close to this October date for a groundbreaking. We'll have a big ceremony of some kind to get them started. Judge, did you want to talk about the, because you really do have a big stake in this, and I know the rest of the judges.
We do, and on behalf of the judges, I want to appreciate the commissioners' work on this, and looking forward to the expansion of the much needed space we need in the Judicial Center. It's a building that we moved into in 1999, and I think at that particular time nobody envisioned the growth that Newton County would undergo in the next millennium. And so we appreciate the county moving forward with this.
Can you repeat one more time the split?
It's a 25-75. So I'm just going to use the most used example that day, and that was if they can find a place where the judges will allow them to use maybe tile instead of nice carpet, and they're able to save us the money on it, then they're going to make that suggestion to our design team. The design team will then help make a decision. If that's $1 earned, they get a quarter, we get 75%. It's an incentive program. It's pretty well consistent with what we saw. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To maybe put address some of the concerns that we have, I know probably the numbers of all of those, but I certainly don't have those with me, but as we went through this exercise, I guess it was 8:45 to about 5 o'clock, or 4:30 to 5 o'clock, shut down for the day. There were 6 very big companies that go through that. It was a thorough process that's focused on high quality project being delivered on time, hopefully under budget. Everyone needed to meet the time frames were from 9 months all the way to the 15 to 16 months. So again, the board had that conversation, the others had that conversation, and as we reviewed those highest quality players, those at the top, along with the lower cost. This particular team hoping was at the top, and very high level of past experiences, and so the quality of this is not changing. It's just not.
They were not the lowest, but they were second lowest as far as money. Absolutely.
I just want to correct one thing that may have created a false impression. The division of savings is not related to compromises in quality. There would have to be general agreement among everybody involved, including the judges, that changing the way we do something, or changing the materials built out of, that everybody agrees that there's no compromise in quality. It's just through creativity or experience or whatever skill, contractor has identified ways to save money.
Thank you.
To go along with that and explain what the chairman just said, the company funds was not the lowest bidder, but they were the lowest qualified bidder. I think is what the team company. All 6 companies had some very good experience and are successful. We want a track record that resembles the programs. I'm pretty excited. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Commissioner.
So do you want a motion?
I would love it. Thank you.
Okay, so I would make a motion to award the construction manager contract to Hogan Construction for the judicial expansion project not to exceed $554,255 with a 2-year contract.
2-year warranty.
I'm sorry, 2-year warranty.
Do we have a motion?
Second, you may want to amend that to include the cost saving delay.
Okay, I've got that written down
Why
too.
don't you go ahead, sir?
I'll make an amendment that not to exceed $554,255 with a 2-year warranty. And if they are able to save money that does not compromise quality, they will split that money 25-75.
25
25% to them, 75% to them.
We got a motion, and now we have a second. And is there further discussion, Commissioner? All in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you. Judge, we appreciate it. George, we appreciate you being with us. Stay as long as you like. Thanks. He's excited. He's going to be able to work near home. So, Commissioners, check off item number 16 on your newest agenda. I'm going to go with the chairman's comments at this time. I think we all now are aware that we're not going to have a meeting on July the 1st. It was decided a long time ago that because it's the week of the 4th, we would not have that. However, we have been invited to all ride the float in the July the 4th parade, and I'd like for you to let me know if you're going to be able to do that. The next budget meeting, I believe, is going to be the 26th, I think we finally decided today. And it will be held, not here because of the conflict that evening, but we'll do it in the administrative building across the street. And we'll do that at 6:30. If there's already one published, when we come out, we'll redo that one. Okay, it didn't get sent. So mark your calendars. That's going to be a Thursday night, the 26th of June at 6:30. That should be next Thursday. Tomorrow night is the Leadership Collaborative meeting as well. They're going to roll out the 2050 plan as it stands today to the stakeholders. I want to tell you a couple of things to start looking for. One of our landowners on the north side of the county, Mr. Tommy Mitchum, has requested that we look at a land exchange that is in District 4. He will pay the cost for that. It is some county-owned land that's adjacent to property that they own. He'd like to straighten the line. He'll be responsible for all the costs. We'll be getting that together fairly soon. Oxford College has called, and they've asked us to pool our resources, in some cases, not monetary resources, but potentially build a park on property that they have in Oxford. They've asked us to come look at it, and we'll be doing that sometime in the next few weeks. We'll bring you a little more information and see if you have an appetite to do that. We're also going to be working with Oxford, you'll see in a few minutes, so we like to work with our cities and towns. And then lastly, there's a picnic for the employees at the water department out on Alcovey Friday. If you're somewhere around 11 o'clock there to 2:30, you'll get a meal along with the employees. We appreciate what they do. I would imagine that the most recent visit from the movies here with Selma is paying for all of that. I believe the fire department, fire services, and water is doing that. They're cooking, and I'm riding folks around on my golf cart. And then it's now time for, okay, sir.
Mr. Chairman, back on that meeting tomorrow night, this is the first I've heard of it.
I believe it's, correct me, is it 6:30 tomorrow night? Okay. Let's double check that, but I believe I've received all of them. I'll check before then, we'll adjourn. I'll double
My
check.
question is, tell me what they're going to roll out the 2050 plan?
We got Scott in the house with us. He is the leading authority in this county. Nobody other than Miss Jenny Carter knows more about the 2050 plan as it sits today.
I don't want to ask about the ins and outs of the plan. I want to make a
Okay.
How are they gonna roll out something that we haven't even looked at it for our changes or approval, or it doesn't have our fingerprints on it at all? I mean, how are they gonna do that?
Yeah, I
Are
think,
they gonna make sure that everybody knows that's their version of the 2050 plan?
I think a little clarification might be in order. What's happening tomorrow is there's a stakeholder committee for the 2050 plan, and they're the ones that will be reviewing and commenting on the plan. It's not open to or intended for the general public, or at least that's how I understand it. I think you would be welcome there if they, if you got invitations. I guess they would like to see you there, but I don't know.
I did not.
I don't know if you did.
I'll stay on.
Who always copied on that?
Yeah.
It's from Caleb.
Thank you for the invitation, but I'll stay on.
I believe that is the first time the stakeholder group will have seen the 2050 plan. They'll be getting there, as it's written today, they'll be getting that plan tomorrow for the first time.
That's my understanding.
Okay. So, Commissioner, some of you have them already in office, some of us don't. At this time, we'll allow for citizen comments. In respect of time, you'll each be given up to 3 minutes. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please be constructive and direct with your communication to the commissioners. Slander, profanity, or character assassination will not be tolerated. As you know, the commissioners are not allowed to respond to you during this portion of the meeting. If someone would like to make some comments tonight, we welcome those to the line up to my left. Welcome tonight.
Thomas Buckner. Y'all keep saying you're not allowed to make comments. Who passed the law that y'all can't make comment on our comments? I never heard nobody passing that law. Why is it you can't, or you're not allowed to? You should say, we don't do it, and but not allowed.
Maybe I'll make corrections. Thank you, Mr. Butler.
But anyway, here's another thing. It sounds to me like y'all trying to pull a Nancy Pelosi deal with this 2050, all this underhand table stuff. I mean, you gotta pass it before you read it. Is that what y'all want to do? That looks to me like that's what you do. Don't shake your head at me. You said you're not supposed to comment on what we say. And that's a comment.
You say correct.
Ed Applewhite, Old Alcovey Road. The 2050 plan, to me, is a bad idea. It's being fought in every state in the United States. We're just using a different name. Its real name is Agenda 21. It was proposed by the United Nations and signed off on by President Bush. It is a land grab. In my opinion, it is communism. It is Marxist. You're taking away people's private rights with no ability to vote on it. You're going to have a stakeholders meeting tomorrow night. Who are the largest stakeholders in the 2050 plan other than the landowners? We are the stakeholders, and we're the ones that's going to be affected by this plan. Not this guy sitting back here. He could care less. It's time for you people to put this plan before the people, for a vote, by the people. Not 5 people sitting up here deciding what we're going to do with our private property. Thank you.
Someone else tonight.
I'm Gladstone Nicholson from the Highgate subdivision of Fairview Road. Good evening, Commissioners, Attorney Craig. I look forward to the 2050 plan. I've been on board, not with it, but with the concept of it. I don't know all that's involved with it, and I don't want to make any judgments. Reason being, there has to be something good in it, and being humans, we don't do anything that's perfect. So yes, it has to stand up to public scrutiny, but somewhere along the line has to be put together first so that there can be something that can be presented to our county at large, all our folks. You can't have 10,000 people or 100,000 people coming with ideas in a public hearing or 10 public hearings. But you have folks, good-hearted people, I believe they are, well-intended, who are putting together something based on what they think, what they've seen the county has gone through before, and some of the things that we ought to think about avoiding in the future. Now, in the year 2050, probably I won't be here. But our 10-year-old grandchildren, they're going to be here. The idea here is we want to leave something that we have today that doesn't please us, or at least put them on a track to doing something about the future. It's not a land grab, but then again, it's something that has to do with how folks' land will be used. And that's all it is, a discussion to work those kinks out so that going forward we'll have something better than we had before. I think many of us in the county look back and say, geez, I don't like what I'd seen back in the year 2000 or 2005. So in the year 2030, I hope we'll be able to say, well, we fixed most of those problems and we'll leave the rest of it to our grandkids for them to fix when their time comes. And with that, I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else? Commissioner Douglas, this gentleman's probably going to speak to the question you had earlier about. Good evening.
How's everybody doing? Robert Foxworth, live in Porterdale, Crow Road. On another note, I want to invite everybody to City of Covington for the 4th of July. The 4th of July this year falls on a Friday. We're going to have a festival here on the square. And then afterwards, we're having the biggest fireworks show I believe Newton County's ever seen. The City of Covington and I partnered together again this year. This is my 3rd year to help them raise the money for the fireworks, and we're having a $20,000 fireworks show. It's going to be incredible. And it's open to everybody. And people were telling me last year, people from Atlanta come to Covington for the fireworks because we top everybody around just about. So everybody's invited, and I hope to see everybody there.
Absolutely, I was going to suggest it.
Mr. Chairman, the county has traditionally pitched in to help pay for the fireworks show. The city, I believe, is paying $10,000 this year.
Yes, sir.
And the county normally pays in the range of $1,000 or.
Well, I know last year we did. I'm not sure what the previous boards, but we did last year. We found a little loose change in the sofa and was able to put that in.
So, I don't know if I need to put this in form of a motion or a suggestion, but I'd like to see the county, because this benefits the county as well. People out in the county love this fireworks show. If we could pitch in $1,000 again this year, I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Well, we can either do a motion, we can do actually, when we get ready, we had talked about potentially last night, at some point toward the end of this month, taking our contingency fund, maybe buying some books for the public library at that time. Maybe we could put that in at that time. We could make a commitment with a nod if you'd like to tonight. If you feel like it would be appropriate for the Board of Commissioners to contribute $1,000 toward that program.
That would help, because I've been working a lot. And
We got a few nods there. I see 2 nods. Is there any? I think we got a lot of nods tonight. We appreciate all that you do. Do it safely, because the rest of us are out to be out there enjoying it.
the guys we got shooting them off Yuri, he's done it for years. And this year, it's so big, he's going to do it electronically.
No
So-
match. No match.
No, it's going to be good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All invited. Someone else tonight. Public comments are closed for the evening. Thank you for your comments. We're looking at item number 7. from the county clerk's office. It's the minutes dated June 3rd, 2014. If you review those, I'd entertain a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Those minutes are approved unanimously. Absolutely. Oh, you were absent that evening. Thank you very much. We'll correct that 4-0. Thank you. Item 8 is from the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office tonight. He was here earlier. Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry. The most beautiful member from the Sheriff's Office tonight.
Good evening.
See what I'm talking about?
Good evening, always on time. Mr. Chair, board members, Attorney Craig, it's always a pleasure to come before you this afternoon. We have our cops hiring grant before you tonight, and Ms. April will give you the details on the grants. If there's any questions posed, we'll take care of those answers.
The information that was previously submitted that you probably reviewed in the agenda was the approximate figures. So when the grant comes out, we look at the grant and we kind of anticipate what we will be eligible for based on our history. However, we don't know the specifics until we enter the grant and enter the agency data, and it will let us know what we're eligible for. So this year, we are eligible for 7 positions. Excuse me. And as the grant reads, the grant will pay for the salary and benefits of those 7 positions for 36 months. And the agency has to retain those positions for an additional 12 months after the expiration of the grant. This year, we are eligible for 7 positions, and that total is $1,204,169.40. $1,204,169.40. That is the salary and benefits for 7 positions for the 36 months. In the past, the grant has read that there will be a 25% match. However, you don't know what the match will be until you input your agency data. So this year, it said that the match will be a minimum of 25%. However, after entering our data, the match is 27.33%. So of that total that I just gave you, our match would be $329,169, and the award amount would be $875,000. So that's what we're operating on. The award amount again would be $875, and the match would be $329,169. So the Sheriff's Office is asking for approval. When we're doing the application, there is a portion of the application where we request a waiver to waive all or a portion of the match. In the past, we've gotten all of the match waived. In 2010, there was no match. In 2012, they reduced it to 15%. So while this year the match is 27%, we have completed the documentation to request a waiver.
We've got a lot of numbers to look at. I wonder if legal counsel would allow us just to apply for the grant without any numbers attached to it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for not on the spot. So we need a motion to apply, Commissioner.
So move the state safety job.
Question, yes, ma'am?
So, Ms. Jones, let me just make sure I understand. I mean, we've done this year after year. So, we're authorizing you to apply for the grant. That's with the understanding that we will match at the $329,000 if they not waive that match.
Absolutely.
So if they do not waive that match, where will that money come
That will come from our general fund. And the numbers, let's not get excited because of the numbers. Either way you look at this, we're getting 5 positions, we're only going to pay approximately 2. So if you put that $300,000 over a 3-year period, you're still getting 5 officers each year for the price of what we're going to pay for 2 of them.
And I guess my question is, that will be incorporated into your M&O budget, your
As
general fund
always,
budget
right.
that you already requested for FY 15, 16, and 17.
That's correct.
Accommodate y'all for doing such a good job of finding those things. We're always pleased about that. We've had a lot of grants tonight, but none compared with that one. Thank you very much.
Thank
Got
you.
a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Check off item number 8. Reappearing at the stage will be Scott Rocket, Development Services. This is item number 11. It's found on pages 20 through 28. This is one of our subjects that we are getting close to eliminating in Newton County, and it's called neighborhood stabilization.
Yes, so what we're talking about tonight, I hope, is the beginning of the final steps to completing this project. You may remember we have 5 homes that are still in the program. They need to be rehabilitated, and then we find families to purchase them. We're still partnered with Habitat for Humanity to find the families, and they've started to recruit them. We'll begin the process of verifying their eligibility within the next couple of weeks. On a parallel track, we need to get the houses prepared to sell. Obviously, what needs to happen is the rehabilitation work be done, but before we can bid out that step, we need a scope of work for each home, and that's what this contract is for you tonight. Is we procured a company. We only had one response, the Institute for Building Technology and Safety. They do come very well endorsed and well recommended. They've done work similar to this throughout the South and Southeast. Closer to home, they've done work like this in the Fort Benning area. I think last year, the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission issued a similar RFP for work that was distributed throughout the region, including the city of Porterdale, and this is the company they awarded that contract to.
What's the name of that company? I'm looking for it. I can't find it.
I'm sorry?
The name of the company?
It's a nonprofit group. It's the Institute for Building Technology and Safety. And so staff's recommendation is we award the contract to that group for a cost not to exceed $6,600. The NSP funding will cover all the costs associated with this contract.
Institute for Building Technology and
Safety.
Let's get that. IBTS. Commissioners, we got IBTS as a contractor. This is building scope of work not to exceed $6,600. Is that correct?
Correct.
Need a motion? Oh, absolutely.
Scott, in the documentation that we received, shows that this particular vendor, the Institute for Building Technology and Safety, is headquartered in Virginia, and the point of contact is out of Austin, Texas. Will you have a point of contact here in Georgia?
Yes, the main headquarters are in Virginia. I think they're doing all their paperwork out of Texas, but the actual inspector is located in a branch office in Macon. And that'll be the folks we're really working with on a day-to-day basis.
Mr. Schultz, would you like to offer a motion?
I would move for approval to award the contract for RFP 14-11 for technical assistance to the the Institute for Building Technology and Safety not to exceed $6,600.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Commissioner?
Thank you, Chairman. So what exactly are they going to be doing?
So they're going to evaluate each home individually and make a list of what needs to be done to put them into saleable condition. They have databases of local costs, and so they will give us an estimated cost so that when we bid this work out in the future, we can evaluate the numbers from the contractors and say, yes, this looks like a reasonable amount, or that looks too high, or maybe somebody's really underbidding. So there's two things we're getting out of this contract.
Punch list and some supervision is what we're looking at the contract. Any other discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous.
I did want to just clarify one thing. We have talked about, in order to expedite the process, having these folks, instead of waiting to get all 5 done at once, do them one at a time, and then we'll bid out each house one at a time, or maybe in pairs, and that'll let us get construction started sooner than waiting a full 2 or 3 weeks for all of them. So you may see me come back a couple of times or 3 times in the next few board meetings to award contracts separately for pairs or groups of homes. Just so you know, that's the plan.
Very much. Check off item 11. And number 12 is 12 and 13 are both going to be transportation projects. We're excited about 2 upcoming ones we've planned, and now we're about to go forward. Item number 12 is found on page 29 through 32, and Tom's going to handle it tonight.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. The first item there is Airport Road at State Route 142 intersection upgrade. This is the third part of the improvements required out there at the school, Flint Hill Elementary. And this was on the original 2011 SPOS road list. We did receive bids to install those turn lanes out there. And the lowest bidder was Pittman Construction, in the amount of $579,249.45. Now, I want to remind everybody that this project did receive a $200,000 reimbursement from GDOT, so the county's obligation will be more like $379,249. However, we do have to award the contract in the full amount since it's a reimbursement, and the Department of Transportation is waiting on our award so you can send us a $200,000 check. So, any questions about that?
We love the DOT in Newton County. They've been very, very good to us. We're going to get this on this next item as well. I want to remind you the school has been open a couple of years. We've widened the road, resurfaced the road, Airport Road, and now we're going to improve that intersection because it does touch a state route. We're getting that $200,000 in quick response money. Absolutely, yes, sir.
Is this that new cut-through road from River Cove over to Highway Road?
No, that's the next item. This is at 142, used to be called Loop 81. And, see, I'm from there. And Airport Road. Any other discussion? Commissioners, we'd like to get a motion on this very important transportation project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I can remember 3 years back when the school was built, and they didn't think to the road, and those big old buses would come down to the Airport Road. On the lower end, it connects up to 142. And what would happen was it would be cracking all the road and big cracks. And I think one question back then was, how in the world could we build a school and not even attempt to fix the road? And we found out that the school system can build a school, but we're responsible for the roads, and we have to go out and try to find money in order to research the Airport Road. So I'm pleased that through hard work from this board and Sherman, who led the way, that we were able to research the road, and now we're able to sunset intersection. So our problem, this is we did a while back about some other dangerous intersections. Make a motion to approve, not to exceed the amount that's stated by the county manager.
$579,249.45. We have a motion and a second. And I'm also going to mention that we have probably a design that's been done in-house by someone we're soon going to call county manager. So Tom has drawn this design for us and saved us money on that as well. Probably the only county manager in the state of Georgia that's also done an intersection project. Commissioners, if there's no further discussion, all in favor? That motion carries unanimously. And the next one is Alcovey Trestle Road.
Thank you, Chairman. The Alcovey Trestle Road project is, as you know, a project's been around for going on 10 years now to extend River Cove Road from where it intersects with Alcovey Trestle straight through to State Route 11. This project also received the $200,000 reimbursement from the Georgia Department of Transportation. We put a memo in there that explains some of this, but as we went through the airport road project, we noticed that the payment specification required by GDOT had changed from when these plans were done. We'd already bid out this project, the Alcovey Trestle project, but once we did get those bids in, we were able to lobby back to the Department of Transportation and revise the thickness of the asphalt. You'll see that we negotiated down with around $157,000 with the contractor, and they've agreed to that. So the amount, the low bidder amount was E.R. Snell, and the amount of the award we recommend $833,103.33, of which around approximately $633,103.33 will come from 2005 SPOS, with the other $200,000 coming from GDOT reimbursement.
Commissioners, before we do, I wanted to mention that there was a huge ceremony when we received these awards. There was some of those big checks, I guess souvenir style checks. We had DOT representatives here. I believe we had Todd Long here that day. We also had a significant, both board members from the State Department of Transportation here present with us. Many of you were here as well. Just wanted to remind you of how the hard work has paid off in order to get some of this money from the state of Georgia. And as former Mayor Ramsey has always said, we've got projects ready to go if there's any state money coming our way. Commissioner?
Quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure if this is the chairman or Tom, but I'm certainly a fan of this project. It's been on the list for a long time. The citizens want to know when we will start this summer or soon.
The contractor said they're ready to go to work as soon as we award the contract. Yes, sir. They're working on the project just up the road from there.
If you'd like to make that motion, I think it's about time.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the awarding of contract on the River Cove alignment in the amount, I guess, not to exceed $833,000. I'm sorry, $833,103.33.
We have a motion and second. Further discussion? Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's go back to the underlying problem here. The underlying problem is apparently there are a lot of people that don't know where they're going when they trying to turn on the interstate or turn on to Alcovey Big Road there. Apparently there have been some accidents there or something to that effect. And so the DOT, you know, I know that you have a very high opinion of them. I don't have quite so high an opinion of them. I worked with them in Atlanta and I've worked with them here and find them to be relatively unresponsive and arrogant and set in their ways. Take, for example, the bridges on Alcovey Road. they chose to work on the bridge at peak traffic times instead of at night and weekends like they do on the north side of Atlanta. And so what they've done is they've destroyed the traffic patterns on the east side of the county right now while they're doing that. This afternoon when I was trying to go home before the meeting, the traffic was backed all the way up to the Ingles, trying to get through that traffic light, Ellis Club Road. People going around in construction on this side of the interstate. So when I called the DOT district engineer and asked him why they were working during peak traffic times, the great bureaucratic answer I got is because that's how the contract was negotiated. Period. So I also talked to him earlier about this intersection at Alcovey Trestle Road and Highway 11 and the interstate entrance ramp. And so told him, why don't we, before we spend $833,000, why don't we just move the signs for a couple $100 and see if that does the trick? Oh, Commissioner, we can't do that. We can't move those signs. So we're going to spend $833,000. And I know, 2/3 of it comes from the state, but, it's kind of like a light bulb over your head. Guess where the state money comes from? State money comes from the people that live in Georgia. And that's these people sitting right here. It's all of us, everybody, all 10 million of us. So it's not like manna from heaven when we have state money coming to us. And then we have to pay a considerable amount as well. So, I'm still absolutely convinced that if we could move those interstate signs across the entrance ramp next to the bridge, people with any sense would be able to see that that's an entrance ramp to the interstate, and that's Alcovey Trestle Road next to it. Why don't we put a bigger sign that says Alcovey Trestle Road and put an arrow pointing to it? That wouldn't cost $833,000. And I understand that this is popular with the other members of the board and popular with some people. But, if we've had a bigger waste of money since I've been here, I don't think I've seen it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have a future project coming that's very similar to this one. It's going to cost some $3 million. It's at Allen Road. It has a very similar setup. Years ago, no one took the time to try to correct that problem. So now we have a traffic light that is separated from another traffic light by much less than 100 feet. If you've ever traveled through that area, you realize pretty quickly that people most of the time close their eyes and they hope for the best as they travel through. If you take that particular design and you transfer it down just a little ways down the interstate, you will see that both of those are very alike. So that as traffic for Baxter brick store overlay occurs in the future, you're going to find that we'll spend $3 million to finish it or to fix that intersection. We beat this dog to death. Commissioner, would you like to make some comments?
Thank you, Chairman Ellis. Well, I don't pretend to know about construction of roads, but I do know that this was on the 2005 SWAS that the people voted in. So I do have a concern or a question about the fact that we have downgraded the pavement to a thinner pavement. And I just question if that is going to be, if that's an acceptable decision over the long haul to make a thinner pavement, because we know that there are roads throughout the county that we have identified that don't meet the standards that we would like. And so if we're downgrading, I just wanted to make sure that we are doing what the will of the people in 2005 when they voted this particular project.
We're going to let Mr. Garrett turn his sign around that says engineer at this point.
That's a good question. The pavement thickness primarily was reduced within the GDOT right of way. As it turns out, we did cores out on the existing highway. In Highway 11 did 3 cores pavement samples. And just so you know, we reduced the pavement thickness from 12 inches of GAB, which is the underlying rock, and 12 inches of asphalt to 8 inches of rock, and I believe it's 9 or 10 inches of asphalt. GDOT explained this to me. This is their standard practice to match what's existing. Because if you don't do that, it can actually create some subsurface water problems by compacted areas outside the existing travel lane being over compacted and not allowing subsurface water to escape the roadbed. We went on their recommendation.
Let me just respond to one thing. When you were earlier talking about the Allen Road intersection over there at I-20, I went over there one time and I counted 23 traffic lights from one side of that bridge to the other. 23 traffic lights. This one's red, this one's green, this one's yellow, this one's red, this one. You don't have a clue where to go over there. And you know what? That's a perfect example of government work over there. It's nothing but an absolute mismatch. So I don't know that we can compare the Allen Road intersection with the exit 98 intersection over there at River Cove or at Alcova Trestle Road and Highway 11. Because even me sitting there looking, you're looking at the traffic light and the one just beyond it turns, you see people go like that, but the one right in front of it is still red. So it's a wonder to me that anybody can get through that intersection over there. And I don't know why we don't put a sheriff deputy up there with a red sign and a green sign. You'd be a lot more efficient, and a lot cheaper to tell people how to get through that intersection. That's an awful mess over there.
Any further comments?
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, Tom, I want to tell you, I really appreciate your work on this. I think the DOT is very flexible, especially in the final analysis and allowing us to redo the cores, which equated to $157,000 less for our taxpayers. This is quite a bit of traffic out there now. Voters voted for it back in 04 or 05 squash. So, voters have already asked for it. It's long overdue. It's below the price that we anticipated a couple months ago. And again, you've got Sand Springs, you've got the college, you've got the tech school coming out there. This is a road corridor. We need to be safe for our families. I sit over here kind of smiling. I agree with some of Commissioner Douglas' comments, especially being upset with DOT. They've been awfully kind to you county on some of these road projects, but one of those in particular called me to be late on the date with my wife, and I got in trouble. Please tell me who called. Thank you, Mr.
We'll
Chairman.
take that in consideration of the vote, which we're about to do. All in favor? And all opposed? Oh, I got, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we got 5 and 2. Yeah. That's okay. Hey, I'm quick with this one right here. I believe we have 4 in favor. All those opposed? It was 4-1 pass. Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next item. Cross off item 13 if I didn't tell you, and then we're on 14. This is surplus property. I'm going to direct your attention to page 36 in your book. There's 4 trucks from the fire department, 1991, 1990, and 1993, and 91 model. From the landfill, there's a Ford 150, it's an 88 model. From Public Works, there's 5 vehicles, an 83 loader. Mobile office, the Thai company Cedar, an Eager Beaver boring machine, and a standard 1968 tanker, also from Senior Services, a 1997 Ford Taurus. You have the VIN numbers, you have the information. If I can get a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. I'm going to say that it's 5 and 2. Got a motion and a second. Any opposition? Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor? It's always had a lot of good to have a lot of fun. Moving on to, that takes care of 14, we're on 15. Tom's gonna take care of, we've got a property donation as part of the program with our volunteer fire services. Item 15, pages 59 and 60. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Those 2 pages there are resolution from the owners of the Rocky Plain Volunteer Fire Department. It's a board that agreed to donate over the building and land to the board of commissioners so that we can occupy and service that area with career firefighters. I believe this came before the board, the example came before the board for consideration as part of the restructuring of the fire department.
Commissioner Douglas.
This is, thank you, Mr. Chairman, this is in the first district. This is why that little corridor there is an area that's between the Oak Hill Fire Department and the FFA Camp Fire Department. So this is very important for the citizens of that area, and I ask the board to approve this. So I make a motion that we do approve it, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. Look at the page. We've taken care of item 16. On to 17, which is administrative services. This is going to be an intergovernmental agreement between Newton County and the City of Oxford regarding improvements to Moore Street and West Soul Street. As many times before, we've done this previously with other entities. We're going to work with the City of Oxford, if you approve tonight, to help them resurface some roads in their area. Also, we'll be catching some sections that are also belonging to Newton County. This is a project that they've asked and requested us to help them with. It's actually, to our credit, at Public Works, that now we're being asked to assist these other entities. In the past, I think they've hired it out. So we appreciate the fact that they have the trust in us. We feel like we now have folks at Public Works who are proud of their job, doing as good a job as they possibly can. And we want to give them the credit for this because the City of Oxford has asked for our help. So item number 17 is pages 61 through 62. That intergovernmental agreement has been written, I think, by the City of Oxford, but it also has been reviewed by our council. Commissioners, I'd like a motion.
So moved.
I believe that may be District 4. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 18 is also just tidying up a little issue that's been left behind. Unfortunately, we didn't realize it's page 63. It's item number 18 on your newest agenda. The East Side Trail was completed quite some time ago, and it was designed to have some benches for those of us who might not be able to make the entire trail without stopping to rest. So those benches are now being ready to be installed by the City of Covington. I believe SPLOST was held back enough, $14,800. I don't know exactly what the benches look like and what they're doing, but they request that money to be turned over to the City of Covington, so we'll be transferring that, and it will be used for rest areas for those who need it. That's item number 18. Commissioners, I'd like a motion on that. Yes, we'll try. Go ahead.
Funding was from BOC on that,
Okay. Do I stand corrected? I thought I heard SPLOST. No, you could very well be right. I stand corrected. Thank you very much.
That's all I should correct. Everybody from BOC, that's correct.
A politician is always, when he admits he's wrong, it's always an amazing thing. You might all know that.
So what will happen to the remaining $6,600?
I do not.
We're holding?
I think we'd have had Mr. Middleton answer those questions tonight since he's not present. We don't have the answers to all the questions.
Money's money.
This motion is a transfer.
We we're dealing with, we'll find that balance.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to know what we're going to do with the balance.
That's why we're only reimbursing part of the remaining balance.
So we're not just
I don't think so.
washing that to the city.
No, it looks like, is it more than 20 cents came in, 14, no,
And ultimately, any of the remaining funds that weren't expended, since it's reimbursable with UG bonds, if this county or city didn't expend the money for that.
so the number's 8,200, not 14,804. So we're looking at $8,200. Commissioner?
Chairman, I move to approve the transfer of $8,200 from the city of Covington for the east side trail.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Oh, you didn't? All opposed? Abstention. We got a 4-0. Commissioner Douglas abstained.
Trails are not really popular in my district, Mr. Chairman. And BOC liability is probably
Well, item number 18, from the attorney's office, we get some wisdom from the law. Yes, sir. I believe this is District 5.
look on the third page of the handout, you'll see Exhibit A. And Exhibit A is a feeble attempt, I think, to describe a very short road at the intersection of County Highway 213 and Old Starsville Road. As you can see, we have adequate transportation there in the area. And this short strip of road is dirt, unpaved, and it divides two pieces of property, both of which are owned by Mary Jane Dixon. And then the piece that's not outlined in red is the Dixon Family Cemetery. And there's adequate access to that from roads that are not being closed. So Ms. Dixon has contacted the county. She's asked that the county commissioners consider abandoning that road. You can't make a decision tonight to abandon the road. What you can do tonight, if you are so inclined, is to pass a motion authorizing my office and the chairman's office to put wheels in motion to advertise for a public hearing. The matter will come back before you at a later date. If there's no opposition to it, then presumably you would allow the abandonment to occur.
We're going to label this resolution R061714 lowercase b. R061714 lowercase b. Motion.
Move to approve R061714B.
You decide. That was a tie. Okay, we got 5 and 2. Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
We have a juvenile grant approval, I believe, on your desk. That was added to our list. I'm sorry. This is one of those items that when people realize we weren't having a meeting on the first day of July, they asked us to add it. That's why all the confusion. That would be, I believe, the smallest ones. This is going to be $8,900 from DHS Girl Steps, Juvenile Court. It looks like a 25% match requirement. I'm sorry, I don't know if that requires, is in kind. Good, thank you very much. So we need a motion on that, Commissioner. Got a motion and a second. Oh, yes. Yes, Department of Human Services. Thank you very much. All right, that's 2 and 4. That's $8,900. Commissioners, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Check off item 2021 is another resolution. This is the Georgia Fund. It's actually from finance. You should find that on your desk as well, on your stack. This may be the small print. This is the small print item that you got, large document with small print. Resolution R061714, lowercase a. Commissioners, this is all really housekeeping. Can I get a motion on that?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? That was unanimous as well. Check off 2122 is R061714, a resolution continuing operation of Newton County, Georgia, pending adoption of the 2015 fiscal year budget. That's also there. Tom is going to handle that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is a resolution similar to what we did last year, just to allow the county to continue operations as the 2014 fiscal year expires, about a week and a half until the 2015 fiscal year budget is approved by the board.
And we'll need to approve that tonight since we won't have another meeting. Commissioner? Mr. Douglas. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? That one passes unanimously. The alcohol license reading tonight is the first reading. We will not require a motion on this. We'll wait till the next meeting on the 15th. This first reading is Urbana Food Mart, 1814 Highway 11 South, Covington, Georgia, 30014. The owner is Petro South, and it's unconfirmed, but it's apparently District 1.
I think this is right off the front express. There's been some people along there.
Okay. And we'll be looking at that again when we come back on the 15th. Now it's time for Commissioner, unless I missed something, I think I got it all covered. Commissioner comments, we'll start on the far end of the table tonight. If you'd like to make a comment.
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the conversation we had this morning. As I do all, going back to the last resolution we just approved, I do commit to, I am totally committed to having the budget approved early in July, despite the dust I know was kicked up last night. And also with the roads project in the city of Oxford, again, I applaud the roads team. I think it's very important to save some of those dollars instead of hiring a contractor. We've got to see the Port in the city of Oxford pretty soon with the road projects, and what that does is it saves money to allow the asphalt to the front. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I have one or two comments. First of all, the 2011 squash that we talked about a while back, and what it was in the 2011 squash was 3 items that were placed on the particular ballot that we placed, the commission placed. One from Commissioner Moore, you placed at the purpose, and the second item was from Commissioner Tim Quinn, placed a fire station. And then IJC Henderson, what I had placed on was the $1.1 million to be spread out amongst all around District 4. The reason why I did that, during my conversation with people in District 4 was they told me what they wanted, not what I want. And when you have a conversation with people, they'll tell you. So this is what I want. And I know Young Douglas and all the rest of us, we just got our constituents. And you bring back to this table what they asked for. And so what they asked for was, a piece of it was, like this, all people need help. They don't necessarily need help, they still have hard times. And so the only thing we could do, after sitting down and talking with them, was to do some installation for the building to bring down that high price utility bill we had. So we wasn't asking for anything that was, excuse me, unreasonable, but we were just simply asking for what we needed. And we seen this evening, it was a total joy to them to know that the utility bill is going to possibly be going down. And what does that mean to us? It means that when you come to city government, you don't see no people pushing buses around like when we go to Atlanta all around the square. They have a place they can go, a place where they're loved and people, you know, help them. And most of them move on to their own homes with their families. So I think that's good. Because when we asked Baxter, I was a little bit small portion part of that, to come here, that's one thing they asked me, where your homeless people at? Where's your hospital at? And where the service, what about the sheriff department, where the services that a county provides for the citizens? And we were able to show them that we had services in place for our citizens. And also in 2000, was park. There was about 4 parks. So why would I want to put a park? Well, because it's what my constituents, it's what people in the county needs. And the good thing about parks, as we heard a little bit this evening, was the fact that the Alpha College, again, he understands that parks are needed. That's why it's a possibility. They may also possibly build a very nice park. And also there's been some interest from the town of Alpha, also park. So the only thing what I'm saying is that I don't think there's a commissioner who would run something to this board if it wasn't for the request of the citizens and what they want. And I'm going to close with John. And I'm saying I think we are an extension of the people that we represent. In other words, what they want, it should be what we bring to this city. And so that's just maybe come home just a little bit. And that's what I try to do is that's the district commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Got one date I want to throw out to the commissioners. June 28th, there will be a family fun day out at Eddie Dodge Park. It starts at 1 p.m. And that's being sponsored by Congressman Hank Johnson, Senator Ronald Ramsey, State Representative Pam Dickerson, Sheriff Edel Brown, and myself. So if you guys don't have anything to do, bring your family out on the 28th. And also, it's next point. Also, first weekend in July, please, can I call? It's my 10th anniversary and my 39th birthday, so I will not be in town. Thank you. Such a young guy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 3 quick things. First of all, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but guys, get those PSAs checked. If you're a certain age, you need to get a PSA check. I can tell you from experience that there are usually no symptoms of prostate cancer until it gets very late in the game, so get those PSAs checked. Secondly, I know that Commissioner Henderson is in the midst of a tough runoff. I need to say best wishes to you, Commissioner Henderson. I know we'll meet again before you run off, but I just want to say good luck to you on the runoff. Thank you. And finally, just generically, let me just say we had a very impassioned discussion last night on law enforcement and public safety in Newton County. Line of duty police deaths are up 40% this year over last year. So, Sheriff, just tell you guys to be careful out there. It's bad enough to lose police officers in neighboring counties. We don't want to lose anybody in Newton County. So, if you just pass that along, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Follow up on a couple of things. When you're out there at Denny Dobbs Park, be careful. We'll be sowing new grass out there. Please don't trample the grass until it gets a little bigger. Homeless shelter, I will say that I'm sure the sheriff could also attest to this, that sometimes these people break the law just to find a place to stay for the night. And unfortunately, there's a lot of folks that are in desperate need. We appreciate that. Commissioner, I can assure you that And my frustration level last night got a little higher than it normally does. I try to be even keeled. I get on my horse every morning, again, I remount, and I go back and I try to do my best. And I appreciate you, I appreciate each one of you commissioners. I don't know that they realize the sacrifice in this audience. I'm sure some of them can shake their head. They realize what you go through in your service to this county. I'm thankful to have you. I'm thankful to call you my fellow commissioners. We don't always agree, but we certainly always remount and we start over again the next day. I believe executive session is needed tonight. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Four. Thank you very much. And I believe that was Commissioner Maddox first, followed by Anderson. And all in favor? Yes, we got it right there. Thank you. We don't anticipate any